Greetings. I'm Mabel Ellis Wellborn. On behalf of the Leon H. Sullivan Charitable Board and staff, I extend a hearty thank you to everyone who has taken the time to personally commemorate the life and legacy of the late Reverend Dr. Leon H. Sullivan on this video wall. Your personal reflection speaks to the man that he was. We especially want to thank the Honorable Mayor James F. Kinney, the City Council, and the City of Philadelphia for participating in the Centennial Celebration of his birth. Just as Dr. Sullivan believed that the citizen engagement was crucial to solving all of our social problems, we believe that the citizens should be engaged in this commemoration. May this experience serve to reignite Dr. Sullivan's theological and philosophical approaches to self-help and economic empowerment. Thank you so very, very much.
My name is Alonzo Cottrells, and I have the honor of participating in this centennial celebration for the Reverend Dr. Leon Howard Sullivan, who many of us affectionately refer to as the Rev. I am a retired school superintendent, having served as executive superintendent of the Newark, New Jersey School District and as superintendent of schools of the Willingboro, New Jersey School District. Since my retirement, I have worked for the Philadelphia Tribune Media Company in the area of organizational and management behavior, focusing mainly on human resource issues. The Philadelphia Tribune is the oldest and largest newspaper providing content to the Black community. Also at the Philadelphia Tribune, I write a column titled Back in the Day on a weekly basis. My relationship with Reverend Sullivan goes back to the mid-1960s when I was employed in the Opportunities Industrialization Center's, OIC's, personnel department. Within a relatively short period of time, I moved up to the position of personnel director. A few years later, I moved on to the management training school as its director that Reverend Sullivan had created to address management issues of supervisory and management personnel who worked for OIC. This was an invaluable experience as Reverend Sullivan exposed me to corporate leaders across the country. There is no question that without the Opportunities Industrialization Center and the Management Training School, I would not have acquired experiences in order to advance my career. In fact, I have written a column about the untold story of OIC. The untold story is how OIC prepared lots of young men and women to obtain skills to further their careers in both the public and private sector. So on this day, I trust that all of us will come together in recognition of the contributions made to all of us and to our city and to our country by the Reverend Dr. Leon Howard Sullivan.
Hello, my name is Dr. Ashley Jordan, and I am the President and CEO for the African American Museum in Philadelphia. We are so pleased to be a part of this celebration to honor the life and legacy of Dr. Leon Sullivan on what would have been his 100th birthday. As a site dedicated to African American history and culture, we are inspired by stories like Dr. Sullivan and his commitment for civil rights, workforce development, and his work to elevate the lives of African Americans here in Philadelphia. As a true statesman, a son of the city, we are so honored to tell his story of his work and his legacy. Happy birthday, Dr. Sullivan.
Welcome. This is a 100th celebration of the Reverend Dr. Leon H. Sullivan. We're here today to say thank you to a great leader and a great man who made sure the community interest was always at the forefront of his endeavors. This is a happy birthday from the staff and tenants of the Leon H. Sullivan Human Service Building. Our tenants include Achieving Independence Center, AIC, Campaign for Working Families, Opportunity Industrial Center of America, Philadelphia Community Cultivating Center, Sankofa, Spectrum Health, Unite Here, Urban Affairs Coalition, Urban Youth Alliance, and last but not least, Dr. Watson. We're here to say happy birthday and thank you for creating such a wonderful legacy.
In 1964, Reverend Sullivan started the first of many OICs in Philadelphia to address the employment needs of so many Americans. In 1965, he joined with Father John Sweeney to start the second OIC in Menlo Park, California, called OIC West, or OICW. We're still going strong today. In 2007, we changed our name to Job Train, but we're still a proud affiliate of OIC of America. My name is Barry Hathaway, the President and CEO of Job Train. We remain inspired by Reverend Sullivan's vision and his commitment to providing a pathway to economic mobility. In the last year alone, we served over 3,000 people and 418 clients secured jobs with a combined annual income of nearly $20 million. We look forward to carrying on Reverend Sullivan's work into the future. You can find us at jobtrainworks.org.
The Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan lived a life of service on behalf of the people of Pennsylvania. His impact was global as well as local. He was one of the first civil rights leaders to harness the economic power of his community to promote racial justice when he created the selective patronage movement in Philadelphia, which led to the opening of thousands of jobs in previously segregated companies in Philadelphia alone. In 1964, Reverend Sullivan founded the Opportunities Industrialization Center, OIC, to provide job training to minority and underserved communities, with the first center right here in Philadelphia. In 1992, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President George H.W. Bush and the Eleanor Roosevelt Award for Human Rights by President Bill Clinton in 1999. The same year, he was invited by UN Secretary Kofi Annan to deliver a speech to the United Nations on his moral code of social responsibility, the Sullivan Principles. So as we celebrate what would have been his 100th birthday, I'm heartened to see the City of Philadelphia, the Philadelphia International Airport, the Leon H. Sullivan Charitable Trust, and so many other people and organizations coming together to pay tribute to this distinguished Americans who brought opportunity and hope to so many people around the world as he advanced the cause of racial and economic justice.
My name is C.L. Mannings. I'm the former president of OIC International from 1993 to 2004. And I worked for OIC International more than 25 years in various positions. And the story interesting is about Reverend Sullivan and I was in the Gambia, where I was working over there, and they had a coup. And I was stuck in my office behind safes and desks and everything. And I decided to write Reverend Sullivan a letter telling him that, because I didn't know I was going to get out, I was telling him that I want to thank him for giving me an opportunity to work in Africa and with OIC International. And fortunately, I got out. Reverend Sullivan told that story everywhere he went. So I enjoyed working with Reverend Sullivan. He's a great man. So happy birthday, Reverend Sullivan.
Reverend Sullivan to me was a wonderful person. Not only was he a father, but he was a father figure to all those who came into Baptist Church. He was a giving pastor, a loving pastor, and a peaceful pastor. What I remember about him mostly is that if he asked you your name, and then he would come back maybe a couple weeks, whatever, and he remembered, oh, you so-and-so. That's what I liked about him, his preaching skills, how he cared for people that were not a member of Zion. He was always helping, encourager. He was a very encouraging pastor. And so Reverend Sullivan was like a friend, not only a friend, but he was a father figure for me. By me coming up here early during my school years, I thank you, Reverend Sullivan, for all that you have done. God bless you.
Hello everyone, it is indeed an honor and a privilege to join with each of you in honoring the Leon Sullivan Centennial Celebration. For me, Leon Sullivan was the mighty Lion of Zion, who strongly encouraged long before it became popular that Black people be put on a path to self-sufficiency. I can think about reading as a young staffer for Marion Tasco his 1036 plan, where the parishioners could pay, I think it was $10 a month for 36 months. For 16 of those months, they sent the money to a nonprofit, and the last 20 months, that money would go toward starting a Black-owned business. That's how OIC actually got started. Then his advocating for Black people to get engaged in the trades and be a part of the skilled workforce. And lo and behold, who would think that an African American shopping center could be a possibility and be open in the city of Philadelphia? But we got Progress Plaza because of that mighty Lion of Zion. I was so honored when he received the Medal of Freedom. I think it was in 1991. He has been one of the strongest advocates, again, for putting people on a path to self-sufficiency. No handouts, just connecting people with access to opportunities so that they can take care of themselves. For that, Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan, I treasure you, I lift you up, and I thank you for the trend-setting, trailblazing path that you laid for those of us who want to get engaged in this work to try to connect our people with resources. Thank you so very much for your leadership.
I am so honored and proud and humbled today to be a part of making this video tribute in honor of such a wonderful man, the late, great Dr. Leon Sullivan. Dr. Sullivan was not only a civil rights leader, he also was an advocate for workforce development, job skills training, and making sure the community had all the resources they need. Dr. Sullivan, he believed, as I believed, in overcoming barriers. You have to keep moving, keep climbing the mountain. Sometimes you have to move the mountain, no matter how hopeless things seem. His legacy has always inspired me to do the work that I do, and I thank you, Dr. Leon Sullivan, and I plan on keeping your legacy alive.
I remember when I first met Rick and I came down to the church, and Reverend Sullivan more or less adopted us, and I became one of his kids. When we were getting married, he was in Chicago, and he said, when you two get married, no matter where I am, I will be there. He flew in Friday night, married us on Saturday, and flew back to Chicago on Sunday. I thought that was just the most wonderful thing that he could have ever done. The church had already burned, and he married us in the other church. And it was just wonderful. He was just a wonderful, wonderful person. And he called us his children, that he put us together. And actually, he did put us together, because I used to come and visit Zion, and then I joined Zion. And I love Reverend Sullivan.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Sessions-Fullenwellen, and I am the committee chair for Troop, Pack, and Crew 303. Reverend Sullivan started Troop 303 70 years ago. We're getting ready to celebrate our 70th anniversary next year in 2023. I'm very proud to say that I am a Silver Beaver, just like Reverend Sullivan was selected to be a Silver Beaver recipient for the Cradle of Liberty Council of Scouts. I want to thank everyone who participated in our scouting units since 69 years ago when Reverend Sullivan started, and we continue to go forward. Please support Troop Pack and Crew 303. We're going to be out here celebrating next year. Thank you.
I am Deborah Gary. It has been an honor to serve as trustee and secretary of the Leon H. Sullivan Charitable Trust to continue on the foundation established by our visionary founder. My family grew up in Zion. Reverend Sullivan was our spiritual leader, but his visionary thinking also was directly in line with those of my parents and my elders. So I based all my personal efforts on the same perspectives: self-empowerment, business ownership, and real estate ownership. I'm also president of the Society to Preserve Philadelphia African American Assets, and we follow his model of collective responsibility in our efforts to preserve and restore African American property ownership. So I will continue to forward his vision at the trust as well as in the community. So we honor Reverend Leon H. Sullivan. Thank you.
We are John and Dolores Shelton from Chester, Pennsylvania. We were introduced to Reverend Leon Sullivan some 40 plus years ago by the late Elton Jolly. Our fondest memories of Reverend Sullivan are when we traveled to Africa to attend the African American Summit. He was a visionary. He was a God-fearing man. His philosophy was to teach a man how to fish, not to just give him a fish. He was an author of several books. Yes, Reverend Sullivan was somebody to know. He enriched the lives of thousands across America, Africa, and Poland. Oh yes, he was international. His Sullivan principles will go down in history. He will never be forgotten. He was a born leader.
Hi, I'm Council Member at Large Derek Green. I want to thank the Leon H. Sullivan Charitable Trust for giving me this opportunity to celebrate the 100th birthday of the Reverend Dr. Leon H. Sullivan. Dr. Sullivan has been a true inspiration not only for the city of Philadelphia, but for people all around the globe, and really demonstrating how we can provide economic development in communities and neighborhoods. As a life member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Dr. Sullivan has truly provided and demonstrated achievement in every field of human endeavor for brothers not only in the continental United States, but around the world. So it's a true honor to continue to promote the legacy of the Reverend Dr. Leon H. Sullivan.
Well, it's hard to talk about Reverend Sullivan in a minute, but I would like to say that when I first met him, it'd be easier. I first met him in Camden. He was preaching in Camden. One of the ministers in Camden, Reverend Nemo, they went to school together in Virginia. And so he said, you need to talk to Reverend Sullivan because you can get over there and support him. I said, I will. That's when I had my store in Camden, and he asked me to come over here and put my store in Progress Plaza. And from there, it's history. Because Elmer Young and Miss Young was the first people that I met, and Deacon Fisher was my right-hand man because we were Reverend Sullivan, and Secretary Earhart and Secretary Miss Love had a relationship with them and working with Elmer Young for Progress Plaza. Then I came to be a member of Zion. That was the best thing I ever did. Reverend Sullivan baptized me. And the story there is that I'm glad I was here then, I'm glad I'm here now. I've been here 55 years, since 1967. So whatever God called me, I'll be right up in front of the pulpit. They can take me out of here.
I'm George Van Norton. I'm the church administrator at Zion Baptist Church of Philadelphia. And one thing that has always stayed with me with Dr. Sullivan's teaching and his preaching is to use what you have in your hand. When I attended Zion in the early 70s, one of the things I remember is to always have what God has given you. He said to us, if you do what you can, God will do the rest. And that stuck with me because you take as many steps as you can to do for other people or to change things in the world. God will take that faithfulness and your determination, and He will do the rest for your effort and for your faithfulness and for your energy.
Although he's no longer with us, Reverend Dr. Leon H. Sullivan's legacy and his commitment to Black economic independence and social mobility lives on and is an inspiration to citizens and activists and politicians everywhere. His dedication to this cause has spread across the country, with his Opportunities Industrialization Centers now boasting 38 locations across the nation. As a Black woman in politics, he is a shining example of how we should be fighting for equality in our community, and I am so honored to be able to celebrate him on what would be his 100th birthday.
My name is Kelly Woodland, and I am Managing Director of Leadership Equity for the United Way of Greater Philadelphia and Southern New Jersey. Leon Sullivan's unfailing commitment to creating opportunities and access has provided today's leaders with a blueprint for change. Reverend Dr. Sullivan's strategies for reconciling community development with human development are best practices today. I am humbled and honored to wish Reverend Dr. Leon H. Sullivan a happy heavenly 100th birthday.
Hello, my name is Farrellyn Dove. I am an author, poet, and artist based in Philadelphia. I'm born and raised in Philadelphia. I've been here many years. And Reverend Leon Sullivan was the keynote speaker in my graduating class of Hampton Institute, 1977. He was the keynote address. He gave a very powerful, very passionate speech and charge to the graduates of, at that time, Hampton Institute, which is now Hampton University. Fast forward to 1985, I was a mass media arts major at Hampton Institute, and I became a reporter for the Philadelphia Tribune. And in 1985, I had the pleasure of meeting with Reverend Sullivan in his offices, and I did a series of articles on him. It was a highlight, and he really talked about his employees, the legacy he was building, and his commitment to the Black community very passionately.
Hello, coming straight to you from Ready, Willing, and Able. Happy centennial birthday to you. Thank you so much. This is Calandra Coleman. I'm Executive Director.
I'm Bruce Salters, the Deputy Director over at Ready, Willing, and Able. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much for all you've done to revitalize communities and the members in them. Thank you so much. We are grateful to you.
Good afternoon. I am Mike Major, Associate Minister here at Zion, and Reverend Sullivan. Wow. He actually licensed me to the ministry. I think I might have been one of the last things he did here at Zion before he left. I think the biggest impact, or I guess biggest reflection, well, a couple of things, I'm sorry. One is I am where I am today because of the ministry, his ministry, and the people that worked with him. Number two, probably the most significant thing I can think of about him is that this was a man who walked with kings, walked with presidents, and yet he knew the name of at that point, 13, 14-year-old boy from North Philadelphia. I grew up literally right around the corner in the shadow of this church on Lenox Street, which is 1/2 a block behind Zion. And so here's a guy, Ford General Motors, and everything else, and yet he knew my name.
Hi, my name is Rick Harper. My family, my mother, my brother and I, we came to Zion in about 1959 when Reverend Sullivan was here. He was a man of vision, of caring, and praying. He also acted as a sir father to me because my father had died, and I had to bring him my report cards, which sometimes was nowhere near as good as my brother, so that's how it goes. But he was a man of God. My wife and I, we decided to get married. He said he was going to come back wherever he was and marry us. So on our wedding day, he flew in from Chicago, did the service, and flew back out. He was one of a kind. He was one of a kind. He did everything for everybody, and you seldom saw him reaching out for anything else. Love him. Love him now, and I loved him then. God bless you, Reverend Sullivan. God bless you and the family.
Hi, I'm Sam Dove Jr.
raised in Philadelphia, and I have a couple of anecdotal notes on Reverend Sullivan. I was a Boy Scout, and when Reverend Sullivan dedicated Progress Plaza, I was 10 feet from the podium and just amazed at he and the other dignitaries as they spoke about Progress Plaza and the fact that we were going to advance as a nation of Black people to increase our economic abilities. I also had an opportunity to meet with Reverend Sullivan at the IHOP, which is no longer on Street Road, but he and his daughters were there for breakfast, and I brought my sons and my wife there for breakfast, and we sat in booths adjoining each other, and we had a great conversation with him and his children. Lots of fun. He was a great man.
Hello, I'm Charmaine Matlock-Turner, CEO of the Urban Affairs Coalition. It is such an honor to celebrate the 100th birthday of the Reverend Leon H. Sullivan, the celebrated minister of Philadelphia's Zion Baptist Church. Many of us who knew him recall his fierce determination and fearless leadership. While serving pastoral duties for nearly 40 years, Reverend Sullivan fought for principles of self-help, created social and economic opportunities for the underprivileged, and earned recognition around the globe as a civil rights leader. The enduring contributions from this one man are truly astonishing. Though he accomplished many things, one of the most iconic for me and many of us in Philadelphia was the development and founding of the country's first African-American owned shopping center. With funds from Zion Baptist Church members, including my proud Aunt Clara, who was so excited to be a contributor, as well as other members of the Black community and individual investors, said this is something new, this is something different. Continuously owned and managed by African Americans since its opening in 1968, Sullivan Progress Plaza remains a beacon of pride and hope in the North Philadelphia community. UAC was thrilled and honored to work with the Sullivan Charitable Trust to remodel the Plaza Shopping Center in 2009. UAC's collaboration with Reverend Sullivan's Opportunities Industrialization Center, or lovingly known as OIC, where I once worked, and other stakeholders ensured that African Americans benefited from the 1993 development of the Pennsylvania Convention Center. The hospitality training site, created by OIC, still going strong today at their headquarters on North Broad Street, enabled thousands of African Americans to join the hospitality industry as leaders, managers, and servers, not only here but across the country. The Sullivan Principles, led by Reverend Sullivan, led us to dismantle apartheid in South Africa and showed what social justice can happen with economic leverage. Yet again, he did not forget about home. Reverend Sullivan was a founding member of the Urban Affairs Coalition, the 53-year-old nonprofit that I've led for the past 23 years. Since our founding in 1969, we have remained committed to our original mission of eliminating poverty, discrimination, and civil unrest, and to secure human and civil rights. Just as he believed in creating opportunities for those who most needed them, the Coalition is working to improve lives and build better futures across our region. Thank you for the opportunity to celebrate this amazing milestone in the life and legacy of Reverend Leon H. Sullivan.
Greetings. I'm Sheila Ireland, President and CEO of Philadelphia OIC. In 1964, Dr. Leon Sullivan launched OIC in the face of virulent racism and economic disenfranchisement of communities of color in Philadelphia. Frustrated with the business community's unwillingness to hire Black workers within the faith-based community, he launched the Selective Patronage movement, whose slogan was simply, "We don't buy where we don't work." The success of this movement in part leveled the playing field for Black workers in Philadelphia, including my father, who upon his return from military service found it difficult to connect to work in Philadelphia. Dr. Sullivan went on to create the Sullivan Principles, who still resonate as the North Star for effective human capital development practices for organizations who are truly seeking the best talent to drive their competitiveness. The principles of equal pay, equal working conditions, diversity, equity and inclusion, and holistic support systems resonate still as the clarion call for both workers and inclusive, progressive organizations. Thank you, Dr. Sullivan, for all that you have done for us. We at Philadelphia OIC will continue to keep your dream alive as the struggle continues.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Stanley Green, and I'm president of Power Thinking Corporation. We actually help people build evidence-based skills at Penn's Positive Psychology Center to bounce back from life's adversities and empower themselves to achieve more. And as I say this, I am going back to days as a young person in Philadelphia, watching commercials on television about an organization called OIC, seeing the great Reverend Sullivan step out of a building, and they would say, OIC, helping people help themselves. I've since witnessed him with Progress Plaza, building OIC, and even our markets in my neighborhood, where my mother told me, I don't want to go right around the corner, walk a few blocks more and go to our market. Reverend Sullivan, in this Centennial Celebration, I want to thank you for all that you've done to inspire all of us.
My name is Brenda Mattox Young.
And I'm Victor Allen Young. We've been members of Zion for many, many years. Over 60. We love Reverend Sullivan, the Lion of Zion. One thing that we'll always remember was his love for the children. He would come into our choir practices and the kids would be just so excited to see him. We just knew that he loved us.
Reverend Sullivan was an outstanding, loving, kind, brilliant man. I remember him as a 7-year-old girl living on the 3600 block of Revere Street, coming through my street, stopping and speaking with my dad outside. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful memories. Because the things that he has done for us, and we're still receiving even after he's gone. Love to all of his family, and thank you for sharing him with us.
How did he impact my life? Well, my sisters and their friends found a safe place to go in the summertime. And I was wondering where my sister and all the young ladies and some of the guys was going. Then I found out they had a vocational summer school. Well, instead of me running the street acting crazy, I came to Zion Baptist Church to learn a little something to keep me out of trouble. And as I was growing up for about 4 years straight, it was like about 100 young kids on a Friday night in church for hours. That was a good impact for a lot of kids and me. Had somewhere to hang out with, to sing, to praise, and fellowship. And that's how I end my name is Kerwin Henderson.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Johnson. I am the current chairman of the board and director of operations for Sullivan Progress Plaza, Progress Investment Association. I'd like to start out by wishing Reverend Sullivan a happy 100th birthday, even though he is no longer with us. With a heartfelt happy birthday wish to him. My story is very unique to me in that I grew up at 1549 North 11th Street, right here in the back of Sullivan Progress Plaza. I was here before they actually built the plaza. I didn't know Reverend Sullivan directly, but as a kid, once they built and completed the plaza, I had an opportunity to walk through the plaza on many occasions and see Reverend Sullivan as he walked through the plaza and directed and took care of business at the plaza, which was an inspiration for me. I went away to college, came back, and I was bestowed this position by Mr. Wendell Whitlock as chair of the Progress Plaza, which has been a very rewarding position for me to have here in North Philadelphia. I'm very proud to represent Reverend Sullivan at this point as to what we've done at Sullivan Progress Plaza. And I think he would be very pleased at what we've done along with my board members and Darryl DeBress, who is the president and CEO of Progress Trust. So again, I'd like to wish Reverend Dr. Sullivan a happy birthday. We miss you. We continue to put the boots on the street and try to achieve things that we know that you would want us to achieve. The Plaza is doing extremely well, and well wishes to you, Reverend Sullivan.
Hello, my name is Darryl DeBress, and currently I am the president of Progress Trust, Inc., and I'm just proud to be a part of one of the components of the progress movement of the Reverend Dr. Leon H. Sullivan, who is a beacon in our community. He's always been supportive to families in my community, to my family personally, and I just want to say thank you. And as long as there's breath in my body, I will try to do whatever it takes to maintain his efforts to help our people. Thank you.
Hello, I am City Council Member Kenyatta Johnson, representing the 2nd Councilmanic District, which includes the Philadelphia International Airport. As we celebrate the 100th birthday of the late, great Dr. Leon H. Sullivan, it's truly an honor to rename the Arrivals Hall at the Philadelphia International Airport after the late, great Dr. Leon H. Sullivan. He was known as the Lion of Zion. He was also a longtime pastor at Zion Baptist Church and the founder of OIC America, which provided job training and career opportunities nationwide for our young people.
Happy birthday, Dr. Sullivan. My name is Debra White. I'm the Executive Director of the Leon H. Sullivan Charitable Trust. As we celebrate the 100th birthday and legacy of Dr. Sullivan, I too celebrate my 1-year anniversary here at the Leon H. Sullivan Charitable Trust. I am so honored and humbled to be selected for this position. It has been a year of learning and sharing your history with so many of my colleagues. I would like to thank Ms. Mabel Wellborn, our board chair, who kept this dream alive. I would like to thank the mayor, Jim Kinney, and the members of City Council for recognizing the vast history of this man and his contribution to the city of Philadelphia. I would like to thank the City of Philadelphia, Office of Arts, Culture, and Creative Economics for all their hard work in putting this Centennial Celebration together. Special thanks to all the organizations who have planned their events in honor of Dr. Sullivan and the many friends who shared their tribute on our video wall. The future holds great things for us as we celebrate all year long. I pledge to share your principles throughout the city of Philadelphia under the concept of once you know better, you do better. And I want everyone to know the Reverend Dr. Leon H. Sullivan.